Hi everyone, I'm Gary Garcia, an educator here in the Philippines, a GED leader for Ortigas. I'm with Adrian and Lynette. We're also from the Philippines under also an educator group. We are GEG Philippines basically. So welcome everyone to the Philippine Edu webinar in collaboration with QSR, a Google partner, and Acer. Before I introduce our guest speaker for this afternoon, let me tell you about GEG Philippines. So I'd like to invite you to join the GEG Philippines through our Facebook page. And you might ask, what are GEGs? We are volunteer educators around the world, and we provide a forum for educators to collaborate, share, inspire, and support each other. So after this event, we will also have GEG Asia Pacific Connect, which will happen on April 17 to 19. It's like this one, it's a webinar. So it will be in different languages. So we welcome you. We would like to invite you to join us in the GEG APAC event. So make sure to join GEG Philippines, and we'll post the details on our Facebook page. Now, let me introduce our speakers. Our speaker is basically he's teaching right now at Nagoya International School. He is an educational technology consultant. He is a Google Earth education expert, a Google for Education certified trainer and innovator, but cohort Sydney 2013, and he's also a GEG Nagoya YouTube certified. Okay, so okay, wait. Let me skip. Okay, okay, let me skip some. Wait. Okay, so anyway, let me have let's have Nathan Gildart from GEG Nagoya. Nate, go ahead. Sorry, I missed your slide.
Okay. So I can't see you right now. I'm sharing my slide
Your
presentation.
slide is now on screen.
Okay, great. Because there's lag time with some of these webinars, these sources, I'm not sure. So thanks. First of all, thank you a lot for having me, present today. As Gary said, I'm an educational technology consultant, but first and foremost, I am a classroom teacher. My background is in history and political science, but I teach at an international baccalaureate school. So the area that we focus on is actually individuals and societies. So we have everything really, like geography, economics, history, politics, government, civics, and that kind of thing. So I'm a person that actually practices. I don't just present these things at EdTech conferences. I use real world examples that I create and use in my own class. So hopefully you get something out of this today. The first thing that I want to really emphasize is this idea of storytelling, okay? Whether you teach English or history or mathematics or science, pretty much everything can be turned into a story. So as an example, let's take a process like mitosis. You could turn that, maybe not as much into a Google Earth story, though I bet if you're creative, you could. But you could have a story. And I'm going to give a little bit of background of what we're going to get into today. And then we're going to teach you how to make what you're going to see. Now, first off, those of you who might be viewing on a mobile or a tablet that has a QR scanner, go ahead and scan that QR code. And Gary or one of the team can copy the presentation link that I threw into StreamYard. Go ahead and put that in the YouTube comments, and then everybody can access this slide deck and go to it later. If you eventually decide to do a presentation on Google Earth projects, this is official permission to copy anything from this slide deck and use it to share with other people and help spread the love. Yeah. So I'll give one moment more for people to scan that QR code.
So for those who are watching, you can copy and paste from the comments area.
Okay. And of course, tinyurl.com/tg7sc8q. Yes. So I'm going to move ahead now. Are we all good?
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is the topic. Now, Google Earth has a whole pile of really cool things in it, but for this session, we're focusing on just Google Earth projects. I've been part of a global team of teachers and educational technology consultants representing the Asia Pacific cohort for about 2.5 years. So what I'm going to show you today was only launched globally on November 22nd of 2019. So we spent about a good 1.5 to 2 years working on creating projects and testing it out to see how it works, giving feedback to the good people at Google Earth. Very interesting thing that a lot of people don't know. The Google Earth team, which is mainly headquartered in California at headquarters in Mountain View, there's only about like 35 people, not even 40 people on the Google Earth team. So all this cool Google Earth stuff that you see, the people that actually create this stuff, the codes and the algorithms and that, there's only about 40 of them. It's pretty impressive. So what is it that we're here for today? All right, what are you going to learn today? Well, here are the aims of the session. First, to understand learning and storytelling with Google Geo tools, and in particular, we're focusing on the projects tool in Google Earth. Hopefully you will enjoy, I deliberately use that word enjoy, a hands-on session where you can walk along with me and create your own project and feel confident that when we're done, you can make your own tour and even better, hopefully teach your students. I will share with you, or if you could get the link from the private conversation there, everybody, put it in the Google YouTube thing. I have a website I'm working on called socialstudiessamurai.com. If you go to YouTube and type in Social Studies Samurai, I've got a YouTube video that's going to go up later tonight. I wanted it ready today, but the Wi-Fi crashed at my house. That's why I'm at school today. But it's going to be a tutorial video. You will be able to go back to this webinar and learn how to do things. But you'll be able to go to my website and find other educational technology videos that might help you out with a focus on student learning and teacher toolkit. And also, I'm going to give you a brief introduction of some of the other Google Earth features if we have time, which we may not. So we're focusing on projects and best practices. We're going to focus on projects examples. And most of the time will be on this hands-on development of projects. So first off, what are some of the best practices? Anytime we use technology tools, we have to remind ourselves that these are tools. And what's most important is, in the very beginning, what do we want our students to learn? What is this tool going to do, in this case, Google Earth projects? What is it going to do to help learning be enhanced? How is it going to make learning better? How is it going to ensure that kids learn? So from a little bit of my own research and my own thinking, here is what we want to keep in mind when you use Google Earth projects, or anything really, is encouraging equity and honesty and fairness and things like that. I recommend, now you could use little micro topics, but keep in mind big topics like conflict or climate change. Sometimes they can promote stereotypes around the world. When we talk about poverty or disease, you might see a lot of places in Africa or perhaps the Middle East when we talk about conflict. But when we think of conflict, there's lots of conflict in places like my home Canada, the United States, and there's Venezuela, and we have conflict in the South China Sea here in Asia. So we want to be sure that students understand that conflict is things are a human condition. So if we have a negative topic, which we have to talk about, let's make sure we have a broad perspective. You don't want a Google Earth tour that only focuses on the bad things in one part of the world. We want to think about your audience and your purpose. So the example that I like to use is that my presentations or my projects on Earth tend to have a lot of text. So the way I use them is to have students work together in a jigsaw, and one student becomes the expert about one place that we're looking at, and then they go back and teach the other students about it. So if you have a lot of text in your project, you might want to think about having an activity where students are working together. If you don't have a lot of text, then maybe you want to make that a student-only activity, and then maybe have a quiz at the end where they demonstrate what they've learned. And again, if you have only a little bit of text in a project, which is completely fine, it means the viewer is going to go through it pretty quickly. the thing is with these two approaches, the text heavy is good for learning a lot, but people might not stick around and read it all. Little might seem kind of like not really worth my time. I'm not learning enough. It's a difficult balance. Now, as you're getting ready to create your project, right, your really awesome story, what you want to do is complete your research first. If you do your research first, don't even think about the project itself. You're going to learn about that topic more, and then you can visualize in your mind, what kind of pictures do I need? Maybe if I want to embed a video in my project, I know what kind of video I want to find. And of course, as you do your research, you can get your citations, and you can list all the sources and the people that took the photos and things like that. And that foundation is going to make your project go a lot more quickly when you go to make it. That's got to be the most important, or the biggest part of the work. Always, always, always include your citations and credits. We as adults, as teachers, we've got to be modeling academic honesty. So if you get information from a place, especially when you're quoting and using photos and videos, please make sure you place credit to the people that created that. They put hard work into doing that, so you should be crediting them. It's okay to use it, but be academically honest, and we as adults and teachers have to model that. We don't want to be hypocrites. And you want to have your text and your images and your videos ready. Lastly, be consistent. You don't want to slide a presentation in Google Earth or anywhere where you've got different colors here, pink here, blue there, a really nice high resolution picture for this knowledge card, but a low resolution one for the next one. Be consistent. It shows professionalism. It shows your passion, your enthusiasm, and that you care. And when you do this, when you make your examples for students, when they go to make it, you can say, well, look at my sample. It's really consistent, isn't it? And it has my citations. So we're going to get into the hands-on part. But before we do that, I'm going to show you maybe one example. Maybe I'll ask our panel here to choose one. These are topics that I've created as some of the ones I've created for my journey in the last 2.5 years in beta testing the Google Earth project. So this icon that you see is actually special. It's used for the Google Earth educator experts. It's got the Google Earth icon, the logo, but with that pencil. I think it's totally cool. But it's copyrighted, and only a small number of people are supposed to use it. And this was a chance for me, so I put it in there.
Okay.
So among these two topics that we have, again, I'm a history teacher primarily. So I've been creating these history ideas, and I'm trying to create projects that are very broad, that might interest a lot of people around the world. So one I'm very passionate about is modern technology, but ancient ideas. Because if we look at ancient history, we see that human beings were really, really smart. Some of the ideas that we have today, like things like automatic doors or what's called trepanation, it's where you drill a hole in your skull so that you can operate or pull out bad things in the brain. Well, we have evidence that even 10,000 years ago, trepanation was done. That's crazy. So I think we don't give enough credit to people that lived a long time ago. So that's one example of a Google Earth project on that. But also cultural traditions. People around the world celebrate things like Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, April Fool's Day we recently had, Halloween and Christmas. So among these topics, as a demonstration of what you can do with Google Earth projects, what would you like to see, everybody? Or maybe in the YouTube comment box too, I don't know.
Okay, I think in my case, I want to see the Valentine's Day. I don't know the others. Lynette, what do you like to see? Adrian?
Maybe the April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day, okay. So I'm going to mouse over this and I'm going to open up and... So now this is a view where it is not part of the account I'm using right now. So what I've done is made it viewable on Google Earth. So anybody can go to it and look at it. So once Google Earth loads, Google Earth does take a while to load, folks. You're going to see that little blue thing. Sometimes it says funny things like 4 billion years of grains, or 5 trillion grains of sand preparing, or 4 billion years of history loading. It's kind of fun.
I think it's because of what we're going to see. There's so much to see. Right.
There is also that. If you do have a lot, the April Fool's Day one is a little bit smaller, not as much text as in my other ones. But yes, the thing is here, it's like anything with online with Google. If you have a lot of, if your file is big, it's going to take a while to load.
Yeah.
Okay, and I can see it's loading now. So what I will point out is this is the viewer's version. Your students would see this if you made this for them. Now I'm going to walk you through how to create this first slide. Now for this project, it was a little bit hard to find a nice background that was a little bit darker. So you notice the text is always going to be white. That's one thing you cannot change. So it's better to have a darker background if you can. That's what I strive for. And this is what's called a full screen slide. And I like to have this in the beginning because I can introduce the tour, of what people are going to see and learn. Now, you notice too, I've got my works cited here. Now, for the project I'm working on next, I'm actually putting my works cited in each individual place that we go because I have a lot of different resources for the different places. But if you only have a small number of resources, why not just put your works cited right here? It shows I'm academically honest. The links automatically fill for you, which is really, really nice. You don't have to hyperlink them. Google Earth does that for you. And of course, I just put a little note here. Image, attributed pen and ink sketch from, Holmes Table Book, 1826, Global News. And that means I'm showing academic honesty. This is where I got it, right? Now, your students as they view, let's say you have a group of students using this project to work together. So we have a group of, let's say I've got 10 different, actually 9 different places to go. Let's say I assign groups of 9 or something like that. And I say, okay, student A, you're going to do ancient Rome. Student B, you're going to do Geoffrey Chaucer. Student C, you're going to do changing calendar theory. And then they become an expert on that one. And then they can go and teach other people in their group. You can make a worksheet or something if you want. Now, this table of contents is one way. If you want to skip ahead of stuff, then you can go straight to the next topic. However, if you want, you can go through each one like this. And this is what I love. It's really cool. It kind of takes you into the next place on Earth that you're looking at. And you'll notice here I have an image. So I've got my text here. And then I have image 1, and I've given the attribution, which I got from Wikimedia Commons. And I've got a second image in here, and I've got my attribution here. So the student can read. And then when they're done with that, the viewer can go to the next one. And it's going to pull you out, and it's going to take you into the next place on Earth.
Wow.
Which is really cool. It's kind of fun to do that. Now, as we go through the hands-on, I'm going to show you something that's even cooler than this. Now, yeah, it's fun. So with these right here, I want to note that you can also embed YouTube videos. You can upload your own pictures. You can't upload your own videos, but you can upload your own pictures and things like that. But YouTube videos you can also put up. So I'm going to leave this, and I'm going to come back to Google Earth. Now, to save time, I've gone in and already prepared a project. But before we get there, there are 2 ways that you can access Google Earth. So anybody that's on right now, I encourage you to access Google Earth 2 ways. If you have your Gmail account open up, the easiest way to do it is to go right up here to your apps launcher. That's what that's called. And you're going to tap that. So let me zoom out a little bit. You're going to tap it, and then you're going to scroll down to where you find the Google Earth icon. And then you're going to tap on that, and you'll get what we had a moment ago, that Google Earth, and it's going to load. So go ahead and do that. I'm not, because I don't want to take the time. Another way you can do it while you're waiting is go to your Omnibox up here. You can't zoom on your Omnibox. And you could type in earth.google.com. And if you tap that, then it's going to take you to the Google Earth landing page. And what you're going to see in the top right is a little blue button that says Launch Earth. So if you want to go to Google Earth and just check out all the other awesome stuff they have, you can do that. and you'll have your other resources and things like that. What we're doing today is launching Earth, but I will point out, since I'm here, you've got Earth Engine Studio and Outreach, and you have resources where you can find other really cool stuff. So if you click on Launch Earth right there, then you will come to this. You're not going to see this right away. And I realize I might be going a bit quickly, so I'm going to pause for one moment, because you will not see this. But you will see your toolbar. You're going to get whatever view Google chooses for you. And I want you to focus on this little button right here called Projects. That did not exist for most users until November 22nd last year. So if you haven't made a project before in Google Earth, you might not have noticed it. There's other cool things here too. So click on that, and you're going to see this view, but you're not going to have anything in it unless you've made a project before.
Okay.
And I'll let the panel kind of tell me when to start again.
Okay. So they have to visit earth.google.com, and then they will see the launch button. It's a blue button with a white text, and then they will be able to see that particular screen.
Yes. Or again, you could go to
Your the apps launcher.
Yes, right up here, and click the Google Earth icon. If people are, if you need a little more time, people, go ahead and type in the YouTube comments box. Let people know what you're thinking. And if you have questions too, feel free to type questions as we go through, and then our panel will interrupt me and I'll stop and go back.
Yes, okay. Okay, we have a comment here from MK. Hi, Gary, Nathan, and
Hi,
all
MK.
DG member. Love Google Earth.
So do I, MK.
Yes.
Okay, I think now it might be time to kind of show,
Yes.
what to do. Now, if you remember earlier when I was introducing this, my recommendation was you do all of your research first. Now, I deliberately chose this one, discoveries that changed history, because I was going to actually put this up on Earth very soon. And you'll notice here, this is quite a long document, and it's got all my links and things in it, right? 14 pages of my research and work. If you want to do a detailed job, then it's going to take you a little bit of time. So actually, when you create projects for your students, think about that as well. But I encourage you, get them to do their research first, put it in a text editor like Notes or Pages or Microsoft Word or Google Docs. I like Google Docs because I don't only use this in Earth projects, but I actually do things like ThingLink and other stuff. So if you want, you could put this, I shared this in the private chat with our group. So you can go and copy and paste the text here if you want to just use this very same text. Please don't use it for your own project, because then you're stealing my stuff. And I'm going to go and put that on Google Earth anyway later tonight. So have your stuff ready, and now you're going to see how fast it is for me to create my project. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is have discoveries that changed Earth. Now, I haven't made a new project yet. So you're going to, whoops, went to the wrong place here. You're going to focus on here where it says New Project, blue button. And I will note that you have a down arrow. Down arrows in Google are good things. You've got these choices. I'm not going to go into KML files. That's another level. We're sticking with the basics today. But you click Create Project in Google Drive. And what happens is it automatically creates a folder for you in Google Drive, which is really nice because it organizes all of your projects into one place. That is so awesome. So you can later on go and open an old project from Google Drive as well, which we'll show you later. So I'm going to give my title a project, and you notice I copied discoveries that changed history. I'm also going to add my description, and I'm going to use the same one. Why would you do that, you ask? This part of the process actually other people don't see. The only people that see this are you and anybody that you're collaborating with. So on the note of collaborating, let's say you want to collaborate with somebody. That's where you go up to your share button here, just like any other Google tool. And you click here, and you're going to choose who you want to collaborate with. And I think I'll just collaborate with myself because I have no other friends, right? So just like any other Google tool, you would choose that person, send them a note. Hi, this is the project, right? Please edit, blah, blah, blah. And then you send it to them. And then they're going to get the notification, and then they'll be able to edit if you don't change any other settings. Okay, so now we have, sorry?
Nice. It's just amazing that you can also collaborate using Google Earth.
That's the one thing that Google brings us all together with, right? It is so ridiculously easy to collaborate on Google. All right, so our next thing, now we're getting into the part that when you're finished and you publish your tour, people are gonna see. People don't see this, that's for you and your management and organization. The next stuff, everyone's gonna see when you make it live. So what you wanna do is add a feature, okay? So you're gonna click that little down arrow and you get these options. You can search to add a place. If you know exactly where you wanna go, you can add a place mark and then you can change the information. You can draw lines or shapes, we'll show you that in a minute. Or you can add a full screen slide. Now, if you think back to that sample that we had, you remember we went to April Fool's Day? This is a full screen slide. And I like this to show people this is what your adventure you're about to go on, right? So I'm gonna choose a full screen slide. And this is what pops up. And you notice too, everything auto saves. So that's really, really nice too. So my slide titles are what people are gonna see in the top right of each place that they go. But this is a full screen slide. So I'm gonna type the title of the project, right? But now I wanna put the information that people are gonna see. So this is where I go back and I'm gonna choose the information that I want to put on that title slide. Hey, it's nice to see people in there. All right. And I'm just, yep.
Nathan, we have a question here.
Yep.
What is the difference between web interface of Google Earth and Google Earth application?
Okay, so Google Earth, when you talk about interface, if I'm understanding the question correctly, viewing Google Earth on a browser or on an app from your phone, or a tablet, it does look a little bit differently. From my understanding, based on a conversation I had with our team back in January, we can still not edit Google Earth in an iPad or a tablet, but go ahead and try because maybe that's changed. So it just really, it's how you view Google Earth. It is different between apps and browsers.
We have another question.
Sure.
I don't know. Gary, question from my friends. Accessing Google Earth via MacBook, Windows or Chromebook in terms of interface. Maybe any difference, I think, is asking for tips, or is there a difference between Windows, Mac, and Chromebook interface?
If you're in the browser, no, not really.
No difference. Okay.
No, not that I've read of or experienced. Right now, I'm in a MacBook and I'm using Google Chrome. With any Google product, app, whatever, it's always better to work in Google Chrome because it gives you more functionality and it's much more secure, I guess you'd say.
And another one, I think this is similar to the question earlier. Does this work the same way on the app, or do you have to go through Chrome on a laptop? So I think
you should be able to view this you can view this on an app on your phone.
But you have to do it in a laptop or desktop, right?
Yeah, you're going to have to build it.
Yes.
You're going to have to build it in a desktop or a laptop. But again, check in your iPad. I probably should have done this earlier today, but go into a tablet or an iPad and then see if you can actually edit. But you could not do that a few months ago.
So Lynette is showing something. Is it possible, Lynette?
Yeah.
So
I can see here the story of April Fool's Day that you have made a while ago. I can see this as a Voyager.
Yep.
Okay. So
So
okay.
it works perfectly fine for iPad.
Yep.
Okay.
Now the question is too, though, can you create and edit? Now,
Can you?
if you're in an iPad or a tablet, you know what you could try to do is if you can log into your account while you're in the web app in Google, like the actual Google search Google, and if you can go in from there, maybe it's possible. So I'd say give it a go. So let's rewind because I know this is a 45-minute webinar, I believe.
Yes, but you can extend if you want.
Oh, hey, we can go on for 2 hours if you want. I love this thing.
Okay.
No, we won't. I promise everyone we won't. But all right. So let me just rewind here. So remember, now I'm at the point that I want to put the text from my the research I did before, all the work I did before. This is my cover slide, and I'm just going to simply paste it in here, and I'm going to have a look. And what it often does is give you a space right here. I always encourage people to do the preview of what it might look like when you're finished this one particular part of your tour. I'm not quite done yet because I want to show you that you can add background colors if you want. However, I personally feel it's much more interesting to look at an image because an image really helps give more context to what the person viewing the tour is going to be experiencing. So what I like to do is go here, and you see it says background, and I'm going to choose, or I'm going to click, I should say, on my little camera button. And you have options. You can search through Google, so I can type in whatever I want. If you want to add a YouTube video in the background, which I don't recommend for your first one, you can do that. Or you can search for pictures and images you have in Google Drive.
Yeah.
You can go to your photos, or you can go by URL. So I'm going with the URL because this is about major discoveries. Everybody knows Tutankhamun, right? So I'm going to put ancient Egypt in here. I'm going to wait for it to load. And as that's happening, you notice I've got my two editing things here, right? I can go and tap my pencil and edit and then change whatever, just like I showed you a moment ago, or I can just delete it and deal with it later. Now, something else I like to do is, now the image credit goes to National Geographic. So what I'm going to do, let me scroll down a little bit so you can see both the picture and this box. I am going to highlight National Geographic, and I'm going to click my add link button. And here where it says URL, I'm going to paste it in there, and then I'm going to click OK. And when it turns blue, I know that it's linked. So if somebody wants to use that for a different purpose, they can do it. So now I'm finished my first slide, and I'm thinking, okay, what does this look like? So I'm going to click Preview Presentation. Now, this is not live for the public. It's going to show me what it looks like. So we're going to let that background image load. And so remember when I said a darker background is better, you can see that white text a lot better, right? So the one thing that bugs me about this is I have this space right here. When I copied and pasted my text, it gave me these spaces. I don't like that. So in order to edit, I've got this back arrow right here. So I'm going to tap on that back arrow, and it takes me right back here. And I'm going to go, and I'm going to backspace that.
The spaces. Okay.
And I'm also going to backspace this because it looked like there was kind of a big space there. Now, there was one other little thing there that I want to point out. In my April Fool's example, remember I put all of my citations on the first slide. For this tour, I've got research from about 5 different books for each place. So I'm not going to put my links and my works cited, my bibliography, my citations, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to put my sources here. I'm going to put them in each individual place. So we are finished our first full screen slide to introduce. Yay! But now we want to add more content, right? So what we're going to do is go up here and click the back arrow. So I click my back arrow. And so I want to add my first place that we go to. Because remember, when the people land on your presentation, the first thing they're going to see is that slide, right? They're not going to see a place. So what we want is when they click here or go to their table of contents, they're going to see a place to go. So this is where the real adventure begins. So I'm going to click here again, add feature. And let's start with searching for a place. So this is where I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose. Now I want to start with the Rosetta Stone, very, very important discovery in world history. It unlocked the doors to Egyptian hieroglyphs. So I'm simply going to copy Memphis history because I'm very bad at typing. Or you could type it in, but so you're going to click.
It's a good way to finish quickly the project if you just copy and paste, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
The document.
Absolutely. So I'm going to click on my down arrow, and among my options, I'm going to choose search to add a place, and I'm going to paste in here, and you'll notice that you get other places that you've searched recently pop up. And I've got Memphis, Egypt, and hey, great, this probably is what I want. And I'm going to go with the English one because my people are going to be reading this in English. But notice you've got the Arabic down here. And one other important point, Memphis, Tennessee, USA. You don't want to tap that because it's going to take you to the United States when you really want to go to Egypt. So I'm going to tap on that and I'm going to enter. Excuse me.
So it's moving away from that place. And
It's actually moving away. Hold on. I tapped the wrong one, actually. Sorry. You make sure you tap the right place. I'm zoomed in, too, so I want to zoom out here. Okay, so you get this thing pop up, which is called a knowledge card. And a knowledge card has titles and has information, usually. So what you want to do, now as you build your project, maybe you say, hey, I want to check this out a little bit more. Or if you know it's exactly where you want to go, you click here, add to project.
Okay.
Now don't go too much further, okay? So I'm going to click add to project and I get this pop-up box. I don't want to save it yet. I don't want to edit it yet. I want to go back and I want to get the title for this particular place in my tour. So I'm going to copy the Rosetta Stone, Memphis, Egypt, 1799. I want to get as much context in my title as possible because this part is going to be your title. I don't want them to see just the name of the place. I also want them to see a little more information that tells them about this knowledge card. So once I put that in there, I'm not going to click save because if I save it, it's going to give me whatever's written here. I'm just going to go and edit right away. So then I click. After I have my title I like here, I click edit place, and now you're going to see it takes me back into my project, right? So if we look here, you can see that it says information provided by Google. I don't want to use Google's information. I want to be original. I want to use my own research because I'm academically honest, and I'm going to click replace. And now I get pretty much the same screen as I had before, except my pictures and background are up at the top. Okay. So before I move on, I want to point out this. If you notice, well, actually, yeah, I'll point this out now. You want an information box because that's where your information is. If you have a small information box, it's going to be smaller and it's going to show up with kind of a white background. If you have a large one, it's going to be bigger and cover your whole right panel, the right side, and it's going to be darker. I myself like this, so I'm going to choose large info box. And remember, I use a lot of text. So now I'm going to go back to my research. And now I'm going to highlight this big, honking, huge part of text. And I'm going to include my two sources for information I used here. And we'll come back to the sources later. because there's something else I want to show you with that. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back into Google Earth projects, and I'm going to paste it. Now, if you remember, it would be really nice if you could expand this content box. You can't do that right now. Now, I have a lot of text, but if you remember, too, that spacing issue, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to just click back once. I wish this didn't happen, but it does. And I'm going to give myself a little more space. I think I'll leave the space for my works cited, though, and I'll tell you why in a moment. I want to add images and let you know where I got them, okay?
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do, in fact, you know what I'm going to do is show you what it looks like when I view it this way with no image in the background. This is a large info box, right? So you notice, I've got space in between my works cited, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to fix that. This here is a nice bit of space between paragraphs. So I'll go down, and I'm going to go down to that place where my works cited were separated. Now I know it's going to look good. And I have a space at the end of my works cited. That gives me it looks a little less crowded. And I want to add an image because, hey, pictures tell a part of the story, right? So I'm not going to, now you could, if you want, go to a folder on your desktop, but if you're using a Chromebook, you can't do that. And if you want to work in the cloud, you can save all the images you want to use in, my photos or a folder in Drive. For me, what I usually do is go to my image sources, and I just put the link in here. Why wouldn't you just save it to Google Drive, Gildart? Well, here's the deal. I know that if I put my images here, right, look at Wikimedia Commons, right, it's copyright free. If I use an image link, when I go to my pasting by a URL, if it does not pop up and work, I know that, that image doesn't work. I better use a different one or find a different one. If you upload it from your Drive or if you upload it from your desktop, that link, maybe it's linking to your Drive image or your desktop, but it's not, if it's on your desktop, it's fine. But if you want something that's on the web, then you'll know if the link is dead, right?
Yeah, sure.
I don't like using storage on my desktop, so I try to do everything in the cloud. And I'm loading the preview. Yay, the Rosetta Stone, it's there. So I'm going to put that in.
Nate, question.
Yep.
Would a 360 photo work also with Google Earth?
I've noticed 360 photos have not load with Google Earth. But tell you what, let's try one in a moment, right? They did not work when I'd used them before. Okay. Remember, the place that you use here is Street View and it works in 360. But at the moment, this part that we're working with is still under development. It's a reason why, for example, you can't drag and drop your text boxes and things like that. But in Google Earth, please give user feedback. We often use a Google tool, but they always have a little box that says, how was your experience, or give feedback. The more feedback all of us give to Google, the better they can develop their product, because they actually look at that stuff. And if they have 5 people say, I want to be able to enlarge my box, or if they have 5,000 people say it, they'll say, whoa, everybody wants this. Let's focus on that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I want to go in, or actually, no, I don't want to view my presentation just yet. Actually, let's do that just to see. So what's the difference between the text and that? Now we have the image. And you're going to notice that the image was a portrait orientation, not landscape. So what I like is with portrait orientation, it gives you the shadow here. So you don't get ugly bars of white or black. You can tell that this is connected to the image. So it's not, as nasty looking.
Okay.
So let's go back. Yes.
Is it similar to Expedition? Because the interface looks the same. Is this how you create an Expedition?
Making 360 Tour Creator has its similarities. but their creation tool is on the right side, not on the left. And they do have some different features like audio narration, and it's focused on Earth where it takes you to 360-degree views, whereas this takes you to street view.
Okay, thanks.
If I can give a little bit of plug then, if you do go to my my YouTube channel, socialstudiessamurai.com, within the next week or two, I am going to create a new tour for my students. I've created sections where social studies skill building, I've got Japanese history, but also educational technology tools, where I'm going to put how-to videos in there. So this Google Earth video that I'm going to make later will go down here, and I'll do the same with 360 Tour Creator. So you can check back later and learn how to do it. I try to keep those things under 10 minutes, so it won't take too much of your time.
So that's socialstudiessamurai.com.
Yes, this is my website, and then you can click on the YouTube thing, or just go to YouTube and search for Social Studies Samurai.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for the shameless self-promotion.
That's okay.
Okay, so
because we can use it, right? Because other teachers are free to use it, right?
Well, that's the point. Yeah, the stuff in there is not going to be free to buy. It's going to be free to use, right?
Yeah. So we're sharing it. You're sharing.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too, actually, if indulge me here, this is my aim, is if you go to the political cartoons bit, I'm going to pause that. What I've done in the section for description, I'm linking all the slide decks, the Google Form quizzes, activity worksheets. If you go to those, it already gives you things made that you can use in your class, but you can also make a copy and modify.
Okay, so, that's great.
Yeah, so, that's, I put a lot of time into that, but the purpose is for you to copy it. I don't need citation for that. Just use it, please.
Why not?
And speaking of citation and academic honesty, so I put my picture in here, right? But I haven't cited it yet in my text. So I'm going to go back here. And again, you've noticed that as I have put this together and done my research, now I have all the information I need for a proper citation for that picture. So I put the Rosetta Stone, Hans Hillevart, Wikimedia, and then the proper attribution. So I copy that, and then I'm going to go back into my box here. I'm going to scroll down, and so just above my works cited, I'm going to put another thing that says image credits. In my others, it says image sources. I'm going to have to update that. And I'm gonna, if I put 2 or 3 images in, maybe you want to put image 1 credit, image 2 credit. We'll just do 1 for now. And notice that became bolded. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm not going to bold it. I'm going to highlight and unbold it. But it's your choice. If you want to link the picture, you can do that. I think I might do that just in case people want to use it. It makes it more convenient for my user. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to link the whole thing. Okay. And so I'm going to go in here. One thing, you notice this says National Geographic here. It keeps your last image in there. It doesn't wipe it out. So what you want to make sure you do is paste your, whoops. Oh, I got the wrong link. Sorry. I didn't copy it properly. So I want to make sure it's copied. And so now I know I've got my right thing, my correct image, and I'm going to click OK. And so now the person can click on this, and then they can see the proper attribution.
Okay. Nate, we have a question here.
Sure.
Coming from Stavros. Can you mention how we can save our project and if it is secure, as no one can download without our permission?
Yes. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. So as I said earlier, your thing auto saves. So as long as you have a good Wi-Fi connection, you don't have to worry. It's going to auto save for you.
Problem with that.
Yep. And since the question was asked now, in order to see your sharings and all that, this is one part of your project. So we had to click on the arrow and go back. And so now I'm looking at my whole project, right?
Okay.
So up here is my share settings, right? So again, if I click on that, it's going to open. I won't do that now because we want to move on. But it's sharing in just the same way as any other place, right? But this is a good place to say, okay, let's move on to our next thing that you can do. Now, with a new feature, so I've only got 2 features in here. It's a pretty weak presentation at the moment, right? I want to put more stuff in it. So I'm going to go back to my add new feature, and I'm going to do the same one. I won't add a place mark and all that. But, well, actually, let me show you add a place mark now. I'm going to delete it, but let's say, for example, you know for a fact that in this area here, there is a very special place, right? Or let's say you want students to focus on one other thing. I'm going to add a place mark, and then I get my select a location thing. This is pretty cool. All I had to do is tap, give it a title. Let's say that there is a site of current, excavation. I know that there's excavation going on there. I'm going to click edit place again because I want to change the information. So I click on that. If I want, I can add a picture. I can add information. I'm not going to do that right now. Oh, wait, I mean, sorry, folks.
It's okay. We have a comment here from Dorothy. Okay. She said, this could be an educational and fun, easier egg hunt for students amid the quarantine where they can't go out their houses. But who says they can't tour around the world? It would be fun field trip.
You know what? That's a great comment. And you know what? Yeah. The very last part I'm going to show you today is where you can take a Google form quiz and you can put it right in here. And so when the students do the tour, then they can take a quiz and it's embedded 100% into your site.
Very nice.
Yeah. Totally fun, right? Okay. Yeah. So, but anyway, I've just showed you how you can add a pin. But let's say I know that this area right here is a site of excavation, right? So I'm going to show you the next feature, right? So I'm going to add even a new feature. Now, note I didn't add anything to that. I might want to go back and edit that a little bit later, but for the sake of time, you know how to edit this now, so I won't do it. But let's add a new feature, and this is way cool. I love this. I'm going to choose draw a line or shape. So what I'm going to do is tap right in here, and you notice it says select starting point. That won't enlarge, but so I'm going to tap here, and then I'm going to tap here, tap here, tap here, tap here, and blammo, site of excavation. And I'm going to tap edit place, and it's the same idea. Maybe I want to put a question here for the students. Speculate on what happening. Speculate on what might be excavated so close to the Rosetta Stone. I'll go back and I told you I don't type very well. So I know it's auto-saved. I'm going to go back now. And so when people tap on that, it's going to highlight this and my information, right? So that's very cool. Did you notice this is what a small info box looks like, right? I prefer the big dark ones, but that's up to you because the smaller ones give you a little more space to view right here.
Yes.
Okay, now we're getting to our last feature, folks, but I want to show you something that in my mind is like a highlight. I think it's ridiculously cool. So for this one, we're going to go down. I'm going to go back to my tour. Or sorry, my research, and I'm going to choose this place in Israel where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. This was the Dead Sea Scrolls. I mean, goodness, these goat herding boys just found it by mistake, and it just changed how they think of biblical history, right? So I'm going to put this into my tour. I'm going to click new feature, and this one I'm going to search to add place again. So you only get those 3 options. I'm going to tap it in there, and Qumran National Park. So I'm going to go there. And so now I get what we had before, again, the add to project. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now let's say I've been here, or let's say I know there's a specific place I want to go. First, I'm going to go in and get the rest of my information, right? I'm going to update. Give me a minute here, folks. I know you all know how to do this now, but I'm going to go really quickly, just so we make this slide look a little prettier. I'm going to click Add to Project, Edit Place. It's a little review for you. I have to click Replace because I'm replacing Google's text. And I'm going to paste it in there. And I'm going to choose one of my images. Now, I will go back later when I edit this and be academically honest and put my citation. I'm going to add one picture here. There's the Dead Sea Scrolls unfolded for you. Okay. Now, here's the deal. I want you all to be ready for this because I think this is so cool. Okay. Now, here we've got Qumran National Park. So I'm going to zoom in on that just a little bit. Okay. Now, I've got my place. I'm going to let Google kind of focus on that. Now, you might have noticed down here, you got a little thing that says capture this view. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I want you to focus on Pegman because we need to use these two things together. Now, this little guy right here in Google is called Pegman. Sorry, everyone, it's not Peg Woman. It should have been Person of Peg or something, but at least Peg is the girl's name. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag it, right? And you notice I've got all these little blue dots.
Yeah.
If it's a road, okay, if it's a road, what you're going to see is our lines. So if you know exactly where you want to go, that helps. Now, that's a little bit grainy for me, so I'm going to zoom out a bit. So I'm going to drag Pegman, and I'm going to choose, let's see, maybe this one is interesting. Let's say I know exactly what it is, and it's going to drag me into my street view. Whoa. I'm going to scroll around. I'm going to scroll around here.
There in the actual place.
It's right there, but I'm not done yet. So you notice I scrolled around. I've chosen what view I want. This is what I want my students to see. The mountains and these two cave holes, right?
Okay.
Then I'm going to choose capture this view. So I tap that and it says view saved. Okay?
Okay.
So now what I want to do, just to test it out, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to my site of excavation here. Okay? And I'm going to choose present. So actually I'm going to tap on this. And I don't want to look at the whole presentation. So now I'm into this view right here, okay? Sorry, that's, I want, actually, let me present.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead to my fourth slide. So I'll go to my table of contents. I'm gonna go to my site of excavation. So, now we're in here, but it's the next slide. So when I click on my arrow to the next place, just watch this. This is like way, way cool. So it's going to go boom, and it takes me from Egypt, and we're going to Israel, to Qumran National Park. Looking down, and blammo! It takes me to the view that I chose. And they can scroll around, right? And now it's beautiful. And, I still have a small image. That's what a small info box looks like, right? And I have a lot of text and all that. I have to go back and edit that. Now, here's the deal. If this was a street, or if it had a street view photosphere, you would actually get the little blue arrows and you could follow along and walk, right?
That's nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Okay, now I'm going to show you one last thing here, okay? And one more shameless self-promotion on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
I am going to create in the next couple of weeks a tutorial that teaches you how to do that. Thank you for subscribing, whatever two people just did. I haven't gone very public with this channel because I don't have a lot of content. Now, let's say you've got a tour, okay? And you've got, you want the students to interact a little bit more with it. So I've got a Google Forms quiz that I've made. Now, this in particular is not a quiz, it's a scavenger hunt, but the idea works the same. So when you have your Google form made, when you click on the send button, remember you can email it, you can link it, put it into Google Classroom or whatever. But this right here, right, your little parentheses here, I can't remember exactly what they're called.
Embed.
Well, it's your embed brackets, right? But there's a word called, brackets for that.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. It's your embedding. So I'm going to tap and highlight that, and I'm going to copy it. You could, of course, highlight and copy and paste. And then I'm going to go back to Google Earth, okay? So let's say, for example, that I want this at the very end of the tour. Let's say, for example, all my stops on the tour have a little bit of text, not a lot, and I want to test at the end what they've remembered.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is add a new feature, and I'm going to go back to a full screen slide. So I click full screen slide, and it takes me into my editor, and I'm going to change the title to quiz. And then maybe have fun with it. Are you a ninja? Right? Samurai. I'm only a samurai right now. I'm not a ninja. So what we're going to do is in this box right here, okay, let's just zoom in on that a little bit more. You've got these 3 beautiful little dots right here, more action. Okay. I want to switch to HTML. And then you're going to go down here, and you notice the nice thing is you don't have a lot of stuff. It's nice and simple, right? You want to paste that into the body. So just paste it right there. And look, I get all that beautiful code that I didn't write.
Ooh.
Right? And so I want to preview it and see what it looks like in my presentation, right? Let me just make my screen a bit smaller. So if I put it there, whammo, I got it. Right.
Oh, that's part of the project now.
Right. So I'm gonna put my name in there, Nathan. I'm gonna click next, and then my quiz starts. You can make whatever kind of Google form quiz you want to make. That's taking a little bit of time. Come on now.
This is exciting. I didn't know that you can insert Google Form in Google Earth.
Well, you know what you can do too. Actually, let me just show you though. Let's say we go back to edit the site of the excavation. I've got my stuff here, but if I want, I could actually go to embed code, switch to HTML. I can put the body in there, and then when I preview it, it's in there.
Ooh.
Now the only problem is here. Did you notice in my other place? And this is important. I didn't get everything, right? So this is how you fix this. Now I'm going to go back to the other one. All right, so my Quiz Ninja, this is what you have to do. The height, right? When I previewed this and I want to answer it, it's got my next thing in here. All right, so you know what? I've done this before, which is why it's not actually allowing me to do this. But what you have to do, if you don't get to see everything, you have to go back and change your height. So watch when I change my height to 700, right? 700 across. Actually, let me make that go a little bit further across my my thing. Let's go with 1,000. Now I'm going to preview my presentation, and you'll see that it's longer and wider, right?
That's because it's more than the actual height of the screen.
Exactly. And so basically, it's pretty simple to do. You just have to make a couple of changes.
Yeah.
But if you only have one, let's say you put in a question for each one, just have one form for each question.
Yeah.
But it just takes you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Alternatively, just get your students to view the Google form outside of Earth, and then they can go through it that way, right?
But it's better. Yeah, it's nice to have the end of the project.
Yeah. So now just to wrap things up, now you notice here, I'm done. Let's say I'm finished with everything. I've got all my text, all my pictures. Maybe in one of them I want to add a YouTube video. I know I didn't show you how to do that, but let's go up to my Rosetta Stone here. I also have my YouTube videos ready to go. So I just have to copy. And this is important to point out, actually. You cannot rearrange your videos and pictures So I'm not going to search for a video. I'm going to upload. Oops, sorry. You can upload your own videos. I'm not going to search YouTube. I'm going to upload by a URL. Oh, sorry, that was the image URL. My bad. I'm just going to put my YouTube URL, search for it. Oh, yes, that's the video I want. I'll put it in there. And then check that the preview works. And so, yes, they can scroll through. But remember, you cannot reorder your pictures. There's no drag and drop. And Google Earth developers are working on this, but you can't drag and rearrange, which is a real bummer. So
having this tool is great enough.
it is great enough, but hey, why not always try to improve, right? We tell that to our students and ourselves. So now when you're ready to share it to the world, right? You're going to click on share projects, like your share thing, and go up here to get a shareable link. And you're going to click on that, and notice my domain, Social Studies Samurai. Anyone with the link can view. It's not public. I want to tap on that and then choose more. And I'm going to make it public on the web when I'm ready. And I'm going to make sure people can view it. I don't want people to edit it. So, right, make sure public on the web, can view.
Yes.
And I click save. And now, if I want to share that, all I have to do is copy my link and send it off to all the people I love, which would be my students and my teaching colleagues, like all of you on this panel. And
Nate,
off you go.
I think most of the teachers would be really interested to use it. I'm quite concerned on the consumption of the internet or the data for school use. Would it be heavy to use Google Earth inside the schools connecting?
I don't think it's very heavy. Again, it's going to depend on like how many images and videos you use, because it's all going to go into one file that is in your Google Drive. So let's, for example, take a look. If you want to find this information, go to your apps launcher, go to Google Drive. Now remember, Google Earth creates a folder for you. I'm just going to wait for it to load here. I'm literally the only human being at my school, and it's still taking time.
Thank you for making an effort to go back to your school, even though you're not supposed to.
No, it's we're okay. So I'm gonna open up this Google Earth, and so let's go to my other project, which is a little bit bigger, and I'm just gonna tap it. I'm not gonna open it. I'm just gonna tap on it, and I'm gonna go up here to my information button, right? My details.
Okay.
And so now I've got my details, and I can look here, and it says storage used 0 bytes. Google Earth files are free, right? So I'm actually okay, right?
Okay.
So there's really, not a lot in there. So if I wanted to, let's see, that's not going to give us our information. So really, I don't think data is a big concern. I've got a lot of stuff on this already, and I only have 52 megabytes of 30 gigabytes used here in my private account. So I'd say, Adrian, that's pretty good.
That's great.
I have one more question. How about if I'm a regular user and I just wanna search for any tours available or any stories? Can I search any? Google?
You would have to go to Google Earth. One thing that Google Earth is working on now is creating Google Earth stories for Voyager. There is a place where you can share your stories. I'm not in my account right now, but what I'll do is find that for you. And there is a place where you can fill out a Google form and add your stories. And if they look at them and like them, then they'll give you credit and say, this is a Google Earth story from so-and-so. And it might get linked to Voyager. And then people will be able to search for it. So at the moment, what you make, people can only see if you share the link. So for privacy, that's a good thing, of course. You could also obviously, make the privacy setting only people with the link. But if you make it viewable in public, send it to that Google form, which is a Google Earth community. I can send the details to GEG Ortegas or GEG Philippines, and then you can send that out to people. I have to get into my other account and find the details. Then you can start submitting, and then they could say, "Hey, we like this." They'll email you, and they'll say, "Can we use it?" So anyway, but within Google Earth, if you look at the teacher resources they have, some things you'll find, other things you won't. So you can search around and find stuff. But
they can also use the google.com/earth/education.
Yeah, and if you want, in the slide deck that I shared with you, if you go to the very last slide where it says resources, I've got a million different resources on GeoTools. It looks overwhelming, but if you wanted to go to Google Earth User Guide, Earth Overview, Earth Tutorials, you're going to find a bunch of stuff in there, okay?
Yes, thank you.
So lastly, let me just get to the very end, right? Let me go back arrow here. When you're all finished, the next time you log in and the next time you go to the Google Earth Projects icon, you're going to see your stories right here. And all you do is mouse over and click the edit button, and it will open Google Earth and take you to the view that we just had, right? So I click on that, and then it's going to take me, it won't take you to open Google Earth because we're already there, but it's going to take you in, and then you can start editing the details. Oh, and one other thing too, you can click and drag these slides and rearrange them if you want. I should have shown you that before. So essentially, that is Google Earth Projects. Thank you for having me on, everybody.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Nathan,
Nate.
I'm going to
wonderful
Very
presentation.
useful.
and check out socialstudiessamurai.com. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen.
We will surely. It's a very useful resource for everyone who are watching and for those who are going to watch this episode. Thank you so much, Nate. And Nate is also heading the GEG APAC weekend live event which will happen on April 17 to 19. We'll be posting in the GEG Philippines the details, the URL, and the rest of the information for different languages on our Facebook page. So make sure to join the group. Okay.
And
So
if I could just add to that, because you're obviously not going to give credit to yourselves. Gary and Adrian are also leading the charge in here, and they're getting the Filipino educators. Lynette, I'm sure you're going to be doing something with it. So let's give a round of applause for GEG Philippines and the other GEGs putting this together. So thank you for the opportunity to present. And
we're happy to have you, Nate. Thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much, Nate.
a very fruitful afternoon. Thank you. Okay, so for those if you have a question later on, just make sure to put it in the comments area, and would love to hear from you. And Nate, any social Twitter handle or Facebook or what?
Yeah, you can get me at Nathan Gildart on Twitter. Again, I'm working on Social Studies Samurai. I also have an education website that I call learninglightbulbs.com. And that's where I put my educational thinking and stuff that is me as the whole teacher, not me as the social studies history teacher. So find me on Twitter, learninglightbulbs.com, socialstudiessamurai.com. I love sharing stuff. So jump on Facebook.
Right?
And GEG Nagoya. If you go to gegnagoya.com, you'll find me there as well. Thanks, Gary.
Okay, thank you so much. And for those who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye for now. Oh, wait, we have two more comments from here. Okay, so Sir Kevin says thank you, and the rest of our viewers. Sir Kevin.
Thank you, Sir Kevin. Stavros.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching us. Thank you.